All right, welcome everybody here at Crossroads Church and those of you watching from home on your computer, on your phones. I'm Tom Wright, the MC for tonight's event. This is an evening we're calling a much needed and deserved tribute to women. Raise your hand if you know one. Yeah? See a lot of hands out, that's good. Raise your hand if you know one that has made an impact on your life. Yep, see a lot of hands still up. That's good. There's a line in a popular movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, some of you might have seen that goes, the man may be the head of the household, but the woman is the neck, and she can turn the head any way she wants, which is very true. And in my house, she has the head, the neck, both arms. I think I have a foot, though. I do have a foot, probably have the foot. Many of us know many strong women who have impacted our lives, accomplished so much in their own lives, in addition to helping make their world a better place. The cure for cancer hasn't been found yet, but you know what? I bet it's probably going to be a woman. So this event is for you ladies, for all of you've done and will continue to do in the future. I have to give credit where it's due, although he doesn't want it. This guy right here, this event was initiated by local legend Dean Markison to honor women in March, as it is, again, Women's History Month. I have the honor of introducing a few accomplished women who will either speak, sing, or pray tonight. They could do all three, but I don't want to spoil any surprises out there. So, we'll start off with a song by the talented Lauren Brinkman. Lauren, would you please come up Lauren's gonna sing Broken Land. Here you go, sir.
Thank you. And I just wanted to thank you for having me out tonight on this wonderful occasion. We're celebrating, actually kind of a combination of things. And I've done a lot of work with, with Dean in the past. And thank you, Dean, for putting this together. And, we always honor our soldiers, especially those who fought and never came back. But tonight, we're both honoring them too, and the ones that have come back home that have fought, and it's just great to be a part of this. And also, we're going to be hearing some accomplishments of women and so I just thank you for being part of this. And my name is Lauren Brinkman, and by day I work with seniors in a very busy insurance business, everything to do about Medicare. But at night, for many of you who know me, I also am a country singer. And somebody would have came to me 25 years ago and told me that I would be singing country music for Jesus, I probably would have laughed at them. But it's amazing, what happens when you follow the Lord and the journey that He can take you on. And I didn't actually start singing until about 8 years ago. And what started out as a hobby has rapidly turned into a growing country music ministry over the last several years especially. And the name of the song I'm going to sing is Broken Land, and I just wanted to give you a little background on it as to the Lord put it on my heart to write this song for our nation back in 2018. And in 2020, I had the opportunity to travel down to Nashville and record this song along with several others. And you can find Broken Land, along with my other music, on all the digital stores, iTunes, Apple, Spotify, etc. But more importantly, there is a powerful video that was made for this song, and with the support of a lot of friends of mine and families from our church. You can find it on YouTube and on Facebook. I have look for Lauren Brinkman Country Music. It is a powerful video. I strongly recommend taking some time and watching it. It really brings a lot of meaning to this song. And one thing I can tell you is that the good Lord could not have picked a better timing for the release of this song. If you look over the last several years, you hear about all the violence, the hate, the crime, racial tensions, divisions in our country. And you have news in Hollywood that they almost, rather than bringing healing, they seem to be putting more fuel to the fire and pitting us against each other. And we live at a time, and this is sad, where Americans actually hate each other simply because of a political viewpoint. I've seen families broken apart about this. And I'm not here to get all political on you, but there is something greatly wrong with this picture. And when we consider those who fought for our country, people like Dean and any other veterans, and they didn't fight for that type of division. They fought for love and unity. And when they fought, they didn't care about skin color, race, social class, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, or who you voted for. They didn't fight for some Americans. They fought for all Americans. They fought for each other and for the core vision that all are created equal and endowed with their Creator by certain unalienable rights. And that sounds a little familiar. They fought with a self-sacrificial love that reminds me a little bit about what Jesus did for us. And so many people are pushing for more laws and more politics as the answer, but I believe that people are starting to see through this already. And that true healing, I believe, is coming to America, but it's going to begin when people decide maybe just turn off the TV and turn off the news and begin to look upon each other with God's eyes. And when we see that, and the division will go away, because we'll look upon each other as fellow human beings, Americans, and potential brothers and sisters in the Lord. And when that happens, that's, I think, when we're going to see true healing in America. It's not too late. I believe that God will heal our nation. He gives a wonderful promise, and I'll leave you with this. 2 Chronicles 7:14, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, I will hear from heaven, forgive their sins, and heal their land. I believe that with all my heart, and I hope that you all are blessed by this song. When did it become a shameful thing to raise our country's flag, to stand up tall and sing out loud when the anthem is played, to honor those who fought and died, should never be against the rules? When did it become a crime to say Jesus' name in school? As our nation lost its moral way, you'll see it in the news. Someone guns down a crowd in Vegas, or innocent children in school. But I believe the good book says, if we humble ourselves and pray, seek the face of the good Lord, and give up our evil ways, God will hear from heaven above, and He'll lend us a hand. Forgive us of all the wrongs we've ever done, and heal our broken land. Whoa, whoa, heal our broken land. Why do we judge each other still on the color of one's skin? We were making progress, but now divided again. People hating one another because of a political view. Selective anger, division, and hate spread by mainstream news. Remember when faith and family, good values were the norm. Neighbors helping neighbors, mourning after a storm. I believe good book says, if we humble ourselves and pray, seek the face of the good Lord, and give up our evil ways, God will hear from heaven above, and He'll lend us a hand, forgive us of all the wrongs we've ever done, and heal our broken land. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Heal our broken land, we pray. Political correctness would say that faith is too old. Does it only seek to justify love growing cold? I believe the good book says, if we humble ourselves and pray, seek the face of the good Lord, and give up our evil ways, God will hear from heaven above, and He'll lend us a hand, forgive us of all the wrongs we've ever done, and heal our broken land. We stand together, heal our broken land. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Great job. Thank you, Lauren. Another hand for Lauren here. All right, next up, we will have a prayer by Tiffany and Chad Newharth of Rise Up Recovery. Welcome to the stage, Tiffany and Chad. I want to say a little something about you guys and your organization first, though, before I hand this over. Rise Up Recovery is a local nonprofit founded by these two. They provide much needed long-term care and resources for those recovering from substance use disorders. They're located right here in town on Vermilion Street, right across from the fire department. It's actually Dean's building, or it was. Dean, the big-hearted guy that he is, donated his building to these guys so they could provide their services with very little overhead. That's a huge, have you ever heard of that? That's huge. So applause to Dean for doing that right there. Very generous man. And so it sounds like a prayer was answered for you guys when that happened. Huh? And so speaking of which, we'd now like to hear a prayer from you. So here we go.
Sure. So I want to thank you for Dean for putting this together, and it's such an honor to be here. Beautiful song, praise God. And I just want to introduce my wife, the president and CEO, my favorite woman in the whole world, and the president and executive director of Rise Up Recovery.
He asked to say that. I'm just going to say a little prayer, and then I'm going to invite you all to join me in the Lord's Prayer also. So, Father in heaven, God, I thank you so much for Dean. I thank you so much for those who selflessly give their lives to serve this country, God. And I thank you for women. I thank you for the role that women play in families. I thank you for the role that women play in this country. God, I thank you for especially those women who are called to leadership and service. God, I pray you would bless them. I pray you would pour your wisdom out upon us, God, that we would lead in such a way that brings you honor and glory. Now I invite you all to join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. In Jesus' name.
So if you know someone in need of long-term care and resources for substance abuse or would like to donate to their great cause, you can visit their website at riseuprecoverymn.com. And if you want to walk to them right now tonight with a fistful of cash, I'm sure you guys will take that too, right? I now invite another accomplished woman on stage, Mayor Mary Fassbender. Mayor, would you please join me up here? And I'm going to say some nice things about you before I give this to you as well. So there you go. You just stand there and look mayoral. How's that? Can you do that? Mary Fassbender here started her own hair salon business at the young age of 23. She was successful doing so for over 40 years before finally selling her salon to enjoy some deserved retirement. But you're still at it, aren't you? You still provide? So if you're still interested in a great cut, Mary does provide services at her home. But that's far from it. Mary has also co-founded the very popular Gobblegate fundraiser. The event has become an annual tradition in Hastings for many, and all benefits go to Hastings Family Service, the emergency food shelf business here, organization here in town. And you've raised how much so far, Mary?
1.4 million.
1.4 million. Crazy. Yes. Round of applause for that. Still not done though. This gal here decided she wanted to do more for her community and decided to run for mayor. And so in 2018, she ran for mayor, and yes, you guessed it, she was elected. So Mary, thank you for being here tonight, and the mic is yours.
Well, thank you, Tom. Those were very kind words. But you know, when I stand up here and I think, he just said that I've been doing hair for more than 40 years, it just doesn't seem possible, because truly it seems like 20, you know. And whatever that feels like, I don't know. But yeah, I've been very blessed to live in this community my whole life. And Gobblegate is a success, Tom, because of many, many, many hands that come forward to help us. Our sponsors, our participants, everything is donated. So it is a great event for our community in Hastings Family Service, but it takes a community to make an event like that successful. So with great pride, I stand here with the other women that we will be honoring tonight. Can I mention how fortunate I am to work with 4 other women on the Hastings City Council, which is amazing. And we also have 2 gentlemen that serve as well. Congresswoman Angie Craig is another female who we partner with. Senator Carla Bigham is another female. And it's just been amazing to be able to work with all of these women. And I will say it, women are powerful. We can get things done. Men can too, but I think there's a movement in the power of women in today's world. And I applaud all women who are out there, along with the numerous women business owners within our community. There are many, and I can't mention them all. The other leaders that are women in our community are Hastings Chamber of Commerce, Christy Bars. Hastings Family Service is led by women. United Way is led by women. So there are so many, and that is what I feel is the importance of a community, and that's what I think Hastings is. So with that, I would like to read a proclamation proclaiming the month of March 2022 as International Women's History Month in the city of Hastings, Minnesota. Whereas March is International Women's History Month and a time to celebrate the trailblazing women and girls who have built our communities, fought for our equity, and forever changed the world to be better. And whereas numerous women in Hastings have served in the military and supported our troops and veterans in various capacities. And whereas women in Hastings were leaders in the suffragette movement, fighting for the right to vote for all women, and whereas women lead more than 60 businesses and organizations in Hastings, and whereas the mission of the Hastings Public School District and the United Way of Hastings Helping Kids Succeed program is to assure all students acquire the knowledge, skills, behaviors, and support systems essential to be successful and responsible citizens, and whereas Miss Hastings Scholarship Program empowers young women to reach their potential through membership and scholarships, and now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Mary Fassbender of the City of Hastings, do hereby declare the month of March 2022 as International Women's History Month in the City of Hastings. Thank you.
That's official. Great. Thank you so much, Mayor Mary Fassbender. All right. I'm going to take this back out of here. All right, Miss Jasmine Kotek, would you mind joining me on stage here, please? You might notice something just a little bit different about her attire, and that is because I am standing next to Miss Hastings 2021. Jasmine here, if you read her bio, it is no surprise why she won this crown and this sash. 2 years ago, she founded a nonprofit called Culture Change. Its main mission is to assist in K-8 curriculum writing to align with Minnesota State health education standards. Jasmine is also the creator and presenter of a 4-part mental health initiative to universities, including MNSU, NDSU, Bemidji State, Metropolitan State, and Yale. So that's kind of a big deal. It is kind of a big deal. Jasmine is also a volunteer coach for Girls on the Run, which, if you're unaware, it serves underprivileged and at-risk community youth. She grew up in Dakota County and is a current student at Minnesota State Mankato, pursuing degrees in communications and secondary mathematics education. So there we go. How about a round of applause for Miss Hastings, Jasmine Kotek? Would you like to stand? What do you think?
Oh, does not matter.
Okay.
I'll take it. Thank you so much. Before I even start, I just want to say thank you all so much for being here tonight. Thank you to Dean for always being so supportive and such a kind heart. And to Janelle, my fearless director, who put together these wise words tonight. Is truly phenomenal, so thank you. So, thank you for inviting me here this evening to share in recognizing National Vietnam War Veterans Day and Women's History Month, and how each is an opportunity to remember why they share its heart of service, which is what the Miss America organization shares with both of them. Therefore, it's my honor to be here among many who have selflessly devoted themselves to service. As a member of the Miss America organization, I'm also happy to honor the history of women serving in our military, our communities, and their homes. I'm proud of our organization's working relationships with our military and the USO for over 70 years, and the volunteerism of its young women since our early years. Venus Rami left Kentucky for Washington, D.C. to help our country's war efforts in the early 40s. As Miss America 1944, she sold over $5 million in war bonds and visited military hospitals several times. The 15th Air Force thanked her efforts by making her their pinup girl, naming a B-17 bomber after her, and painting her image on its nose. That bomber finished the war unharmed, and they gave her credit. Rami also worked with members of Congress during her year of service to help enact women's rights legislation. In 2007, Rami stopped thieves from stealing her farm equipment. She steadied herself on her walker, shot their car's tires with her .38 revolver, and held them captive until the police arrived. Rami was 82 and lived another 10 years. Jean Bartle was Miss America 1941. She sold $2.5 million in war bonds and was the first college student to win the Miss America title. She also refused to model the bathing suits sponsored by Catalina, starting a trend. Catalina eventually left and founded Miss USA. Bartle visited her Kappa Kappa Gamma sorority sisters around the country during her year of service and developed the idea to give scholarships awards after she visited Minnesota. Less than 5% of the US population attended college in 1940. Just over 19% of graduates in the early 20th century were among women. Giving scholarships rather than cash awards was very forward-thinking of the Miss America organization, and this advanced women's roles in our country. Bess Meyerson was the first Jewish American to earn the title of Miss America and win a scholarship award of $5,000, which is just over $75,000 in today's economy. Crowned in 1945, Meyerson encountered rampant prejudice through her year of service. She confronted it head on by developing a You Can't Be Beautiful and Hate platform 45 years before the Miss America organization required its candidates to become an advocate for its social impact initiative. Due to several appearance cancellations, Meyerson became a spokesperson for the Anti-Defamation League during her year of service and moved into public service later in life. Fast forward to 2022. We no longer have a swimsuit category in our competition. I'm very thankful for that. But candidates now promote a social impact initiative, a cause we're passionate about advocating for. Moreover, Miss America 2022, Emma Broyles, is the first ever Asian American and the first Alaskan to win Miss America. Last December, she won a $100,000 scholarship. BB Shop, Miss Minnesota, and Miss America 1948. Many national titleship holders graduated debt-free thanks to their Miss America scholarships. It's why we're the largest provider of scholarship assistance in our country. Many women over the decades continued serving in various capacities because of their work ethics it fosters within us. We understand and respect what it is to serve our calling, community, and our country. We recognize the integrity of putting others before ourselves. But the brothers and sisters of our military know that we may pay the ultimate price of it to keep freedom established. The sacrifices they and their families make as they navigate the lifestyle of military service are something we can never fully repay. For this commitment, I say, we stand with you. Whenever duty calls you to put your dedication to the test, please know that we at the Miss Hastings Scholarship Program and our sisterhood support you at the state and the national levels. Indeed, several local and state title holders are among your ranks. So I express our appreciation for you on their behalf. We give our deepest thanks to you and your families for your sacrificial service to liberty and justice for all. I also want to thank the countless legendary women who blazed trails for our generation in their communities and varied roles. Their iconic history and the many inspiring women who came before us to create that history inspire women today. So, how do we repay a legend? How do we show our gratitude for the people who sustain others? We pay it forward and partner with those driven to support something so valuable we can't put a price on. Something good, noble, and selfless. What it is, it's service. The kind of service that gives others all you have to offer and asks for nothing in return. It's inspired and it's inspiring, life-changing. Both the giver and receiver are changed forever in a sweet moment so profound that it makes a heart beam beyond its boundaries. That's how we repay the people. It continues to flow of what they did before us and what others did before them, and so on. That's why it means so much. It's bigger than any one of us. We can't help but be humbled and thankful and moved by it. That's what makes it breathtaking, and I am more than honored to be a part of it. So how will you serve? We're all called to a purpose. Find what inspires you to put others before yourself and give generously without reservation. It'll change someone's life, but be ready. That someone could be you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great words. And we must plug the Miss Hastings organization, of course, here too. They're a great nonprofit as well that you may also sponsor or donate to. More information can be found on their website at misshastingsmn.com. It's a great website, by the way. You should definitely check it out. Who was that? That was you, wasn't it, Janelle? To put that together. Very good job. We're now going to hear from the mastermind behind this event, who should also be wearing a crown. He is a proud Vietnam veteran, a longtime volunteer and advocate for local veterans, leader of the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon chapter for many years here in Hastings, and a friend to many in town, including yours truly, Mr. Dean Markison. Dean, welcome to the stage.
First, I want to say thank you to all the parents out there for raising your children the proper way. These are my parents, and they raised me to be a man. Basically, my grandparents immigrated to America from Russia. Okay, we know what's going on over there now. So that they could have a greater freedom. They moved to North Dakota and lived on a farm. And my grandma had mental illness. She had to go to the state hospital. And Grandpa couldn't take care of the kids. So my mother, at the age of 13, had to raise the family. That's a pretty big responsibility for a 13-year-old. And every member of her family has served in the war since World War II. And one of her final statements in her stories is, "When will war end?" Because we've been at war too long. Okay, now we get into my story. I was raised in a little town just like Vermillion and Meadsville, beside the railroad tracks in a two-story depot. We didn't have any doctors or nurses or hospitals. So when I was born, we had to get a midwife to catch me. That's how I was born, beside the tracks. And then eventually my mother pursued the same occupation as the mayor, beautician. She went to beautician school. Then we moved to Ellendale, North Dakota, and she opened up her own home shop. And until she couldn't stand anymore. Well, Dad died, and she tried to stay at home for a while, but eventually she could no longer maintain her household. So she moved to Stoughton, Wisconsin to be with my brother. And she stayed there. And then eventually went to nursing home and died at the age of 91. My parents raised me right to be what I am today. A little bit about me. I'm a first sergeant that served 20 years in the Army. And a first sergeant's duties and responsibilities is to take care of people. Okay? And that's what my job is. I've done that for 20 years, and I'm continuing that mission today here in Hastings. That's he's leading me. I'm going to continue. That's my story. So, God bless you.
And God bless you, Dean. Hey, don't forget Mom up here. There you go. Well put. They did raise you right, Dean, that's for sure. Nobody will question that. All right, it's time for our keynote speaker, another accomplished woman to take the stage tonight. Miss Mariah Jacobson, would you mind joining me on stage here? Mariah is a very successful attorney practicing in corporate law. She currently resides in Northfield, Minnesota with her husband David and 3 small children. Mariah is an active member of the 9/11 and GWOT Remembrance Task Force and serves on the commemoration work group. What brought her to become involved in those 9/11 groups is a personal tragedy involving her father. He was involved on the Flight 93 on 9/11, which, if you may remember, that is the flight where the passengers took over the cockpit to prevent another tragic crash into a building or wherever. I believe they were going for the U.S. Capitol with that flight. So I will let her share the story that certainly, I'm sure, changed her life forever and drove her to become the accomplished woman she is today. Please join me in welcoming Mariah Jacobson.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I'm honored to be here with you tonight. Dean actually shared with me when he asked me to come speak that one of the themes he wanted to touch on was the theme of coming home. That theme really struck a chord with me. I certainly wouldn't be the woman I am today without the man I'm going to speak to you about tonight, my father, Tom Burnett Jr. Coming home, I think, for so many Americans invokes a feeling of comfort and of safety. Most of us think fondly of family dinners and time spent with friends. We remember happy moments when we think of home. However, for so many of us, being home also reminds us of loved ones who paid the ultimate price. Our holiday gatherings are missing someone important. Photos in the living room remind us of moments that included a friend or a family member who's no longer with us. This fall, my younger sister is getting married, and my family will gather in her hometown to celebrate her beautiful wedding. However, our father will not be there. He won't give a toast at her rehearsal dinner or walk her down the aisle. He won't dance with her at her wedding reception. And while my father never had the opportunity to visit my home in Northfield or meet my children, I still think of the moments he's missing. The birthdays, the first communions, the kindergarten graduations. You see, on September 11th, 2001, while I sat in my high school classroom in St. Paul, my father was engaged in a fight for his life and a fight for the future of our nation. At the age of 38, he was called home too soon. Not to the home he shared in California with my stepmom, Dina. Not to his childhood home in Bloomington. Instead, in the blink of an eye, he was called home to heaven after thwarting a terrorist attack intended for Washington, D.C. And in doing so, he changed the way that I would live my life forever. On September 11th, my Father was traveling home to San Francisco after a business trip in New York City. And though he was scheduled for a later flight, he went to the airport early and he caught an early flight. He caught United 93. And that decision obviously would change the course of so many lives. What happened in the moments following takeoff is commonly known. United Flight 93 was hijacked by terrorists, and my father, along with his fellow passengers, courageously fought to regain control of the plane. The plane ultimately crashed in a field in Pennsylvania, only moments from its intended target in Washington, D.C. But because of his bold action and decisive leadership and his quick thinking, hundreds of lives were spared. Because of his bravery, hundreds of mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers came home on September 11th, 2001. They lived to celebrate more moments with their loved ones. It's probably no surprise that for years I felt very lost. How could I honor my father's formidable legacy? How could I ensure that when we eventually met again after this life, that he'd be proud of the life I lived here? The answers to these questions were not immediately apparent to me, so I set out to learn as much about my father and his final moments as possible. Fortunately, I've had the incredible opportunity to understand him through my stepmom, Dina, through my sisters, Hallie, Madison, and Anna Claire, and through my aunts, his sisters, Martha and Mary. Incredible women that inspire me every day. I'm forever grateful for their love, kindness, and support, for their openness, sharing photos and stories and memories of my father. Thanks to them, I realized that I could memorialize my father and his fellow United 93 passengers by living a purposeful life, inspired by their actions on September 11th. To that end, I would like to share 3 lessons learned from the United 93 passengers that I hold close to my heart today and that provide me comfort when I miss my father's presence in my life. The passengers on United 93 were mostly strangers when they boarded their ill-fated flight on September 11th. However, when faced with certain death, they banded together to avert a bigger crisis. Politics, religion, race, none of that mattered when lives were on the line. Lesson number 1, the people in your life are there for a reason. Be kind. We are all stronger together than we are divided. During the hijacking, the United 93 passengers quickly deduced that they were part of a larger, calculated suicide mission. Rather than waiting for others to intervene, they took immediate action. They began gathering information from loved ones, and they began assembling any weapons that they could find. On one of his last phone calls to Dina, my father said not to worry, that he and a group of passengers were going to do something. Lesson number 2, it's up to us to change course when necessary. When a wrong needs to be righted, we must act swiftly and decisively. Lastly, although there were many acts of bravery in 9/11, the heroes aboard United 93 punched back at a moment when many of us feared that perhaps our country had been knocked down for good. The United 93 passengers did whatever was necessary to ensure their plane never reached its intended target. Lesson number 3, even in our darkest hours, there is light. Even when things seem hopeless, there is hope. Speaking of hope, my hope lies in my children, my father's grandchildren. When I see them stand up for what's right, when I see them do things that scare them, I know his blood courses through their veins too. I know that they will continue to be inspired by their grandfather's ultimate sacrifice. As we gather today to share stories of inspiring women and all of those who helped us get here, let us all commit to honoring those who did not come home. Let us, of course, continue to grieve their loss, but greater than that, let's fill their void in our homes and in our hearts with kindness, conviction, and hope. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to bring to the stage a great representative for our people, State Representative Tony Jurgens. Representative Jurgens, would you please come up here? He's been a great supporter of veterans and women, and I know he's been heavily involved in many of the communities around this area. So, Representative Jurgens, I apologize for that little typo on my part.
It's all right, Tom. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dean, for asking me to close out ceremonies tonight. Mariah, I had the pleasure of seeing you at the state capitol on 9/11, and it's a pleasure to see the kids growing a little bit since then, but always a pleasure to hear you speak of your father. Jasmine, thank you for being here today, and Tiffany and Chad. Lauren, beautiful music. Thank you for that, and Mayor Mary for the words that you read in the proclamation, and of course Tom for being the master of ceremonies. Today's a special day for honoring Vietnam veterans. Every year on March 29th, we observe Vietnam Veterans Day. The date commemorates the day the last U.S. combat troops left Vietnam in 1973. But every day is a good day to thank a military veteran for their service. Yesterday on the House floor, Representative Bob Detmer, who is a veteran, he represents the Forest Lake area. He read some words and he shared those with me and gave me permission to share those with you today. Just some statistics and some information on Vietnam. The U.S. involvement in Vietnam started with the deployment of advisors in the early 1950s. The first U.S. combat troops, 3,500 Marines, arrived in Vietnam in 1965. The last U.S. personnel were evacuated in 1975. I believe in war there are no unwounded soldiers. All Vietnam veterans will tell you it's impossible to forget the fear, the camaraderie, the bravery, and most importantly, the heartache experienced in war. Let me share some fundamental stats about the war in Vietnam. The total U.S. troops killed in action, 58,319. Missing in action, 1,719. Wounded in action, 303,635. Combat medics killed in action, those that were going to help their fellow servicemen and women, 1,247 were killed. The average age of a soldier in Vietnam, 19 years old. 1 out of every 10 Americans who served in Vietnam was a casualty. More than 106,000 Vietnam veterans are totally disabled. Medevac helicopters flew 500,000 missions in Vietnam. 19.4 million gallons of Agent Orange defoliant was sprayed in Vietnam. This act alone made sure that hundreds of thousands would forever remember and suffer from their tour of duty. That includes my uncle. I was telling Mayor Mary this earlier. My father's family, there's 5 kids. The middle of the 5 is the only one who's no longer living. He was the one that served in Vietnam. And it wasn't proven, but the health risks or the health challenges that he had was always suspected to be related to Agent Orange. I'd like to end by talking a little bit about the namesakes for Foss and Swanson. Dean named Foss and Swanson the People's Center after Dwayne John Foss and Lawrence Harry Swanson. These are 2 Hastings men who left Hastings and went to Vietnam and didn't return. Lawrence Harry Swanson was born December 5th, 1948, and he died February 7th, 1968. He was a Lance Corporal in the United States Marine Corps. Dwayne John Foss was born August 24th, 1948, and was killed October 14th, 1967, also a Lance Corporal in the United States Marine Corps. On this day and every day, let's remember those veterans. Let's remember all veterans. And even though today is the United States, or known in the United States as Vietnam Veterans Day, every day is a good day to thank a veteran. So thank you, Dean. Thank you to all of the veterans. Thank you for those that have served to protect us, to protect our freedoms, and to who continue living the life of service. Thank you. Tom, I'm done.
Thank you, sir. All right. Well, that concludes this program. I do want to thank all of our speakers tonight. Thank you to Mike Bramer and crew for filming this on Hastings Community TV. If you missed any of it, it will be available on YouTube and Facebook, I'm assuming, soon. Thank you also to Pastor Tim Stanley and his crew here at Crossroads Church for hosting this event. Very super generous. Thank you all again for attendance here tonight at Crossroads Church, and those of you at home watching this on your computers, on your phones, or wherever. Touched on two very important topics tonight with our veterans of Vietnam, as well as many women in our lives. And Dean, I'm sorry? Yes. Yes, what's the announcement you want me to make? I'm sorry? Why don't you make the announcement? Go ahead.
Okay, on 21 April at the Green Mill Restaurant, we're going to celebrate the month of the military child. Also, we're going to celebrate all the people that are community service providers and volunteers. Thank you, Tom.
There you go. Thank you, Dean. All right, round of applause for Dean. Thank you again, and folks, have a good night.